As the title of the video indicates, we need to talk about something very serious. Is there a possibility of Vladimir Putin and Russia using a tactical nuclear weapon on the territory of Ukraine? Not long ago, Sham referenda were held in 4 regions of Ukraine: the Luhansk region, the Donetsk region, the Sabotage region, and the Kherson region. I just quickly want to show you the so-called referenda results from those 4 regions. Take a look here. As you can see here, the Russians say that in the DNR, the Donetsk People's Republic, more than 86% of the people there voted in favor of joining the Russian Federation. In the LNR, the Luhansk People's Republic, that number was more than 90%. In the Zaporizhia region, 66%, and in the Kherson region, 63%. As you can see in these numbers, Vladimir Putin and Russia, they are not even trying anymore. They are not even trying the least to make these numbers look real. 90% in the Luhansk People's Republic, 86% in the Donetsk People's Republic. These are joke numbers. This is completely ridiculous. It is so damn absurd. Like, no one in their right mind would believe these numbers. And they don't. Not even Russia's closest allies, not even the Serbians or the people in Kazakhstan believes these numbers. They think they are fake. They know they are fake. We all know they are fake. I think this might be just Putin giving the West a middle finger. I think this might just be Putin giving the West a big middle finger, because he knows that we know that these numbers are so completely and utterly fake. Like, even if those numbers would have been closer to something that in a faraway galaxy might seem a little bit real, like even if he had said like, 55% of the people there voted in favor, we would have known that the referenda were fake anyway. But at least, the Russian government would have tried to make it look real. 90% of the votes, not so much. That is just one big middle finger to the West. The reason I'm showing you these so-called referenda results, because they are obviously fake, but I'm showing them to you because Putin doesn't need anyone to believe him. He doesn't even need the people of Russia to believe him, even though they do. I think the latest numbers was that close to 80% of the Russian population still supports both Putin and still supports the war. But even if they didn't, Vladimir Putin and the Russian government, they don't even need the people of Russia to believe them. They just need themselves to believe them. Because what happened today was that Vladimir Putin and Russia, they actually annexed these 4 regions of Ukraine. So in the Russian eyes right now, the Donbass region, the Zaporizhia region, and the Kherson region, they are parts of Russia. And this is where we have to talk about Russia's nuclear doctrine. Because right now, Russia's nuclear doctrine is actually fulfilled. Because the Russian nuclear doctrine states that in the event of an attack on Russian territory, that the Russians should resort to defending themselves using nuclear weapons. And in Putin's eyes, in the eyes of the Russian government, 4 regions of Ukraine are now parts of the Russian Federation. These 4 regions in Vladimir Putin's eyes is Russian territory. And remember, throughout the whole war, not only since February, but actually since 2014, Vladimir Putin and Russia has threatened us, saying that in the event of an attack on Russian territory, that they will use nuclear weapons. Well, in their eyes, an attack on Russian territory is actually happening now. Like, Putin and Russia, they don't even control the entire Luhansk region. They don't even control the entire Donetsk region. They don't even control the entire Zaporizhia region. And they don't even control the entire Kherson region. The Ukrainians are still counterattacking them. They are pushing in Luhansk, they are pushing in Donetsk, they are pushing in Zaporizhia, and they are pushing in Kherson. Vladimir Putin's troops are surrounded right now in Liman. Like, this war is going so terribly bad for the Russians. And the thing is, the Russians, they have already escalated the war so much. Vladimir Putin is right now, the Russians say that they are mobilizing 300,000 men. I think that's a blatant lie, because rumors are already circulating that in fact the Russians are mobilizing close to 1 million men. And also, what we need to understand is that the law that was passed, the mobilization law, that's what I'm talking about, the mobilization law that was passed in the Russian parliament, it doesn't say anything about mobilizing 300,000 people. It doesn't say anything about mobilizing only the reserves or only mobilizing people with prior military experience. The law gives them the possibility of mobilizing just as many people as they want. That now the funny thing is that they're actually still not calling it a war, they're still calling it a special military operation. A special military operation where Russian territorial integrity is now threatened apparently, and a special military operation where you have to mobilize 1 million men, give them 1 day of training, send them to the front line as cannon fodder. Yeah, what a fantastic special military operation. Like, it's completely ridiculous. And it's also, as I said, it's also a very, very dangerous trend that is happening right now. The war has never been as dangerous as it is right now. And I think actually that the world has never ever been so close to nuclear war as we are right now. I don't even think the Cuban Missile Crisis compared to this, because right now the Russians are saying, if our territory is threatened, we will resort to using nuclear weapons. And right now, in the eyes of the Russian government, the Russian territory is very, very threatened. It is completely crazy, and it is very scary also. If you have been following my channel for the past couple of months, you'll have heard me talk a lot about actually, is there a possibility of Vladimir Putin using this tactical nuclear weapon on the territory of Ukraine? And I've always been saying that even though it is probable, it is still highly, highly unlikely. I don't think it's highly, highly unlikely anymore. I still think that it is pretty unlikely, but I think we are much, much, much closer now than we have ever been before, probably than we have ever been before in the entire history of mankind. Of course, I know that a nuclear weapon was dropped during the Second World War, but there was no possibility of nuclear war there. So I'm not counting that, even though nuclear weapons has actually been used before in war. I'm not counting that. I think that right now, after these sham referenda, nuclear war is a possibility that we need to keep in mind. And actually, I really, really want to ask some of you guys, what do you think? Do you think that Vladimir Putin will use a tactical nuclear weapon in Ukraine? And if that happens, what do you think the response from the West should be? What do you think our response should be if Vladimir Putin uses a nuclear weapon? It is something we really have to think about. I just wanna right now actually read to you some of the things Vladimir Putin said in his speech where he annexed these 4 regions of Ukraine. I wanna say annexed in quotation marks, because these 4 regions was Ukraine, they are Ukraine, and they will forever be Ukraine, no matter what Vladimir Putin says. But this is what Vladimir Putin said during his address on September 30th. He said, "Ukraine has started a war, and it is necessary to sit down at the negotiating table." Yeah, that's not going to happen, Putin. That's not going to happen. President Zelensky said he wouldn't negotiate with you, and I completely understand him, because there is absolutely no negotiating with Vladimir Putin. Like, you can't negotiate with people like this. Even if you agree to negotiate with them, they can't be trusted. Like, they lie and they lie and they lie. So no negotiating. Good on you, President Zelensky. I totally agree. He says, "The choice of people in Crimea, Sevastopol, Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhia and Kherson causes wild anger in the West." Yeah, that's not true. The choice of the people in Crimea, Sevastopol, Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhia and Kherson does not cause wild anger in the West. The choice of those people are to continue being with Ukraine. That is why those areas are completely depopulated now, Putin. That is why almost everyone fled to free Ukraine. The people there, they don't want to join the Russian Federation. They want to be with Ukraine. So another blatant lie from Vladimir Putin, but what do you expect? He said, Russia is a civilized country. That is up for discussion, I think. Yeah, I don't want to say anything more about that, but Russia is a civilized country. That is definitely up for discussion. He continues, the West wants to colonize Russia, exterminate ethnic groups, and start manhunting. Yeah, accuse the West of the things you do yourself. Vladimir Putin is right now trying to colonize Ukraine. He is trying to exterminate the Ukrainians. I mean, just look at what the Russians has done to Mariupol. Just look at that. How many people they killed. Like, the West does not want to colonize Russia. This is what they keep saying. If you saw some of my latest videos where we watched some Russian propaganda, you will know that this is one of the things that they love to keep saying. They keep saying that Russia is under imminent threat of a Western invasion and that we in the West want to invade Russia and dismember the nation. That is what they keep saying. But the thing is, that is not the West wanting to do it to Russia. It is Russia not wanting to do it, but actually trying to doing it to Ukraine. He also said, Germany, Japan, and Korea are under US occupation. yeah, totally. I don't even know what to say to this. Like, Germany, Japan, and Korea, and the rest of Western Europe also, we are allies of the United States. We are not under occupation. The United States don't tell us how to run our governments. They don't tell us who we can elect. They don't tell us what to think. They don't tell us any of these things. Yes, the United States has military bases in Europe, but only because we like to have them here. We want American soldiers in Europe. We want US military bases in Europe. And a lot of people in the world, a lot of nations in the world actually want US military bases because they are scared. They are scared of Russia. Putin, why do you think so many of your neighbors has joined or wants to join NATO? It's because they're scared of Russia. It's because Russia has invaded two of the only countries that hasn't become part of NATO after the disintegration of the USSR. Russia invaded Georgia and now Russia is invading Ukraine. That is why so many of Russia's neighbors really wishes to join NATO. That's the reason. Putin says Ukraine is conducting experiments on people and pretending it is a noble goal. I'm not exactly sure what he means by this, but it could be the continuation of the Russian propaganda about the United States having so-called biolabs in Ukraine. I'm not sure if this is what he's talking about there or if it's something else. So let's just continue to the next one. He says, bread is being taken out of Ukraine right now. You don't say, Putin, bread is being taken out of Ukraine right now. Yeah, bread is being taken out of Ukraine right now. It's actually not being taken out of Ukraine. It's being stolen by you. You are stealing Ukrainian grain and selling it to dictatorships in the Middle East and Africa. That is what this means. I don't think that's what Putin means, but that is the reality anyway. The sabotage of the Nord Stream pipelines is the work of the Anglo-Saxons. Oh yeah, the sabotage of the Nord Stream pipelines that you did. You sabotaged the Nord Stream pipelines, Putin. We know that because we now know that Russian military ships were spotted in the area, in the exact location where these explosions happened. Russian military ships were spotted. We know that this is Russia's handiwork. It has the Russian military and the FSB written all over it. The thing is, Putin sabotaged these pipelines because he wants to create confusion and he wants to scare us. He did it on the exact same day that a new pipeline was opened from Norway through Denmark and to Poland. And Putin, by doing this, he's showing us that he can not only hit the new pipeline, but he's also showing us that he can hit the internet cables. He's doing this to scare us, and he's doing it to create confusion. And unfortunately, by sabotaging the Nord Stream pipelines, he actually succeeded in this. He definitely succeeded in creating confusion. There's already so many conspiracy theories about, oh, maybe it was the Americans. Oh, Joe Biden, he might have said something half a year ago if we take this clip completely out of context. No, Joe Biden didn't do this, the Americans didn't do this, the British didn't do this, the Anglo-Saxons didn't do this. Vladimir Putin did this, and unfortunately, he succeeded. Let's continue. Putin says, Anglo-Saxons convince people in Europe to eat less and wash less. Anglo-Saxons convince people in Europe to eat less and wash less. I don't even know what he means by this. I don't even know what he means by this. The thing is, we know that in the start of the war, a lot of toilets and sinks were stolen from Ukraine by Russian soldiers. Like, Russian soldiers are literally stealing toilets. So I don't think that the Russians should be talking about people eating less or washing less, because, you know. He continues. The suppression of freedom in the West is outright Satanism. Yes, sorry for laughing, but it is really funny. Outright Satanism. There's not really suppression of freedom in the West. Basically what the Russians are doing is that they are accusing everyone else of what they themselves are doing. The Russians are the ones suppressing freedom. And actually I want to show you a clip of one of the protests against mobilization, just so you can see how much the Russian government, and especially the brave Russian police, how much they love freedom. Take a look here. That is the brave Russian police. Wow, so brave. So brave. Well done. 4 against 1. 4 against 1. That is the bravery of the Russian police. The thing is, the Russian police, they are not being sent to the front line. They can rest easily. They are not being sent anywhere. They need to stay in Russia to, you know, beat people who don't want to die in Ukraine. Now the thing is, Putin actually, all of these people who were arrested in St. Petersburg and Moscow, all of these people, they were sent to a military barracks, handed their mobilization papers, and they're being mobilized now. Putin is going to send them to the front line. He's probably going to use them as cannon fodder. And I have seen many people joking around with, like, why would he give these people weapons when they are obviously against the war? Like, I think a little bit differently about this. I think that Putin may have actually found a way of getting rid of a lot of people who are against him. Like, I think Putin is just going to send all these protesters to the front line and have them used as cannon fodder. Make sure they don't return to Russia afterwards. Easy as that. I think that is what he's doing. Yeah, the world is going mad. Or not the world is not going mad. Vladimir Putin is going even more mad than he has already gone the last couple of months. And the war is much more scary now than it has ever been before. We are closer to nuclear war than we have ever been before. And I actually want to end the video on the same question I asked you earlier. Do you, dear viewer, think that there's a possibility of Russia using a tactical nuclear weapon on the territory of Ukraine? Do you think that's a possibility? Please write in the comments what you think. And also remember to like the video and subscribe to my channel if you like this.